Savage Mind Podcast community, for whoever is there. I'm grateful for everyone who is still there. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for hanging in there. For those of you who have not tuned in or gave up on myself, people like myself, that's unfortunate. I understand. I hope to gain your support and your attention back going forward. What is up, man? It's been a little bit. Shit. I'm not going to bore you with the same shit that I've been saying for so long. Let me just give you a recap. It's December 2024. As I've said for so many seasons, podcast is not where I have no expectations of anybody but myself. Remember this. Lower your expectations of every fucking one except yourself. Lower your expectations of everyone else. Raise your expectations for yourself. Have zero expectations of anybody. But then again, I didn't know when I started this, I didn't know what to expect. I felt like my progress and my focus was better a couple of years ago. I'm not going to do the recap in this video and this podcast. Again, just me. That never was the plan. Just to hear myself talk. I know y'all probably hear a lot of similarity in the things I say. That's because my mind wanders. I hold myself accountable on that. It does not hurt my feelings. I'm a high energy person most of the time. Sometimes it's hard for me to stick to the subject at hand. It's getting close to Christmas. Got a few weeks. And so in a nutshell, I was always on Spotify since I started this podcast, and Apple Podcasts and a few other platforms. You had to be in the podcast community to understand the other smaller platforms. It's just not the mainstream ones. Long story short, when I first started this podcast in 2020, still not where I want it to be. My plan, and it will always be my plan, that will not change. And I'm not going to say when, because I had to eat my words in past podcasts about my deadlines and target dates. And here's what happened. I'm calling myself out. When I first did this podcast in 2020 and went to a podcast event in Orlando, Florida, you only had to have like one or two podcasts. Didn't matter how popular they were, if you had any support, if anything, you had to have two generated, one or two podcasts done, just so they're out there on some kind of platform, and submit them. So that's what I did. And the whole, I guess, kind of how it was sold on Spotify and some of those platforms. Spotify is the one that put me on. Forever be grateful for them. Not mad at them, but companies are always changing their criteria and different things. They sold it on the selling point was you can do it from your phone. So that's what I did. At the time, I didn't have podcast equipment. I've had that podcast equipment for over 4 years. I just went and got it out of storage. Brand new in the box. I've showed pictures of it on my pages. I have enough for 3 people. And again, I'm going to say this again and not trying to bore you. I'm not a technical guy and I don't give a fuck. I'm not interested in it, but I'm having to make myself do it. And here's what I did. I got complacent doing it this way. I got complacent doing it on my phone. And then a year and a half, 2 years ago, Spotify changed some platform rules. I went in and made it, you had to subscribe to listen to my podcast, thinking I would get more subscribers, not for money, but for support so I could get on other platforms. And I ended up losing all my subscribers, and I made more than the recommended changes. I believe in reading the fine print. But here's the thing. It's hard for me to focus on things I'm not interested in. I'm focused on subjects that matter to me. I'm focused on, it's just like anybody. Ultra training and is important to me. Ultra, I don't call it running. It's walking, hiking, running, everything. Being an ultra endurance athlete of just trail running, we'll talk about that in a minute, is very important to me. Self-education, knowledge, health, family, all the subjects. You can go back and listen to my podcast. So anyone just tuning in, you can find from February 2020 until I think July 2024 on Spotify and Apple Play. Them are all audio podcasts. And from July of this year, there's a few on there before now because I was recording from 2 different platforms. From July of this year going forward, June or July, excuse me if that's off a little bit, you will find it only on YouTube. So I lost all my subscribers on, for the most part, lost most of my subscribers on Spotify again because they went and changed the criteria again. And now they won't allow you to do it from a mobile device. You need to do it, if you do it from a mobile device, you have to download it on a MP3 player, whatever the fuck, and do this. And I wasn't willing to do it. Again, little shit that I didn't want to fuck with. So I didn't. I just opted out and got off there. Will I be back on there? Possibly. When I get this equipment going. Here was my thing. If I'm just doing it with me, why not use my phone? So this is a new one, the device I'm recording from, and I had the same phone for 4 years. So I noticed it wouldn't keep a charge, and it was not downloading some of my stuff. So there's probably not showing on YouTube any current podcast in about probably 5 or 6 weeks. I've done 3, but it would not allow me to post them. So I went and got a new phone, tried to send them over, tried to post to YouTube, will not let me. Hassle. This is what I get for not just doing it on the laptop and doing it with all my equipment. Again, my mindset was if I don't have guests, if I'm not interviewing somebody, why not do it from here? It's a lot more functional. It's quicker and it makes more just overall, the overall functionality of it makes sense to me. So I didn't. And I'm not going to give a target date. I just set new lines in the sand for myself and our family this entire year because this is a big transition year for us. I'm not going to disclose all that now. Just know things are going in the right direction and our overall plans for our life and everything we're building are starting to come together. And I couldn't be more pumped about it. So I'm going to still see if I can retrieve some of those podcasts and repost them so the number of the podcast will be different. I just feel like I need to put something out there. The plan is I just went and got my equipment back out of storage, and if those 3 or 4 podcasts would have been posted to YouTube, I wouldn't be doing this right now. Because the whole reason I did that was to give myself a gap. Again, I'm probably overthinking it and I'm making it more difficult than it is. I've had the equipment. It's brand new, 4 years old. And I got to make myself do it. When I do, let me say it again. Podcasts aren't going to be at my house, all of them. Some of them will be. I don't have a studio, no. The room I've been talking about for so long, finally about to get done. I don't know how long it's take. We have the resources. The work's lined up. It's going to get done. But to some people, it doesn't make sense if they meet me here. I want to go to them. They might have a better area. They might be at a park. It might be in their house, their apartment, their patio, their backyard, whatever it is. Maybe we meet somewhere where the noise control is at least manageable. I'm going to see I want to do what works best for anybody else because my plan from the beginning, and always has been, is to interview and conversate with interesting people. And I hope everyone's still on board. If not, there's plenty of people out there. There's some people I haven't asked, maybe some people I hadn't even thought about. But so the plan would be for every time I don't have a guest or can't get to a guest or a guest cannot come here, it'll be me. And so what I did the whole entire over 5 seasons was just, I'm going to get on here and talk about important things that matter to me. I think that matter to a lot of other people. I only can share my experience. I try not to give opinion. I try to share my experience of my life, how I live, what I'm about, past, present, going forward. And that's all I could do, so that's what I did. So let's talk about this. Let's jump in. I'm going to jump into this first. Oh, first of all, gratitude. I'm forever grateful and never satisfied. Anybody from our age group, being Generation X, we were often taught if we didn't take what anybody offered, whether that be our employers, our family, a spouse, a friend, that we're ungrateful. That's not fucking true. You can have gratitude and stay humble and be grateful and not be okay with what is offered. It doesn't mean you're ungrateful. Maybe that's not so much with the younger generations. We're not talking about that today. I know our generation, I can speak for that. Just because you just because you are not happy, just because you are unsatisfied, just because you're not okay with the arrangement, do something about it. May take time, but it still doesn't mean we're not grateful. Today was a non-run day, bad weather, not terrible, but just enough to where, and I had some appointments and a doctor's appointment, so today was a gym day. Uh, so second mimosa, appointments. I went and got the just life. Got the truck service, got a new tire, had a doctor's appointment, gym, met a client, had to go to storage, back home, dogs, family. This is what it is. I mean, how much more real can you keep it? So since then, I think I've shaved off my beard again. I don't know if y'all have seen a podcast without that. It was time for it to go, and usually I'm going to not do it till after winter. It's just now starting to get a little bit cold here for Texas. I mean, again, we have about 7 or 8 months of summer, and that's the way I prefer it. It's had to go. And every time I do, it's like when I used to have enough hair and grow it out, I used to love long hair. Understand this. If my hair wasn't so thin, I would have long hair right now. I love long hair. Just can't grow it no more. It's just part of it. And it ain't thick enough. And it was time for it to go. So I was just getting aggravated. Let me tell you, anybody that has long beard, hey, I'm all about it. I've had my beard long, off and on for the last decade. I probably had my beard long 3 or 4 times, different lengths, from here to here to here, probably about right here. And when I started this podcast, go back and look at my pictures. If you go back and look at my logo or anything, you'll see how long my beard was. And it was actually in that amount of time, yeah, it was more red and less gray. Some gray, but not as gray as it is now. It's not less expensive to keep a beard. So we've had some things come up. We've had some funerals to go to, weddings and stuff like that, activities. I was gonna cut it, man. I had hold on to your seats on this one. 30th class reunion, yeah. 30 fucking years I've been out of high school. A couple of months ago, and I still had my beard then. I just thought it's time to go. So in the meantime, proud of this. This is my ambassador. You probably can't see it because of the light. I'm trying to get the lighting right. You've seen me wear Alter Ego products in the past. Again, most of the time, if you watch my podcast, I'm usually always wearing either a concert t-shirt, my favorite band shirt, or something I earned. Usually the shirts I wear, I earned. If it's not a concert or a band shirt, or something I'm either a friend or an acquaintance or some brand I believe in, what they're doing, I don't even have to know them. If I believe in what they're doing, their mission, our mentalities line up, or something I earned. After 3 years of applying, Alter Ego out of Florida asked me to be an ambassador for their brand. This is the ambassador hat, super pumped. Proud, grateful, humble to be representing this brand. I was buying their hats. I honestly, sincerely am saying this from the bottom of my heart because I don't get anything for it. I've got ambassador gear and I get discounts. There's stuff that's free and there's stuff you get discounted. They're not paying for my races, and when I go to do a challenge, they're not paying for my hotel room. That would be fucking amazing, but they're not. Here's the thing. Is I bought these hats before then. This is about my 5th hat, and it's the best hat I have ever owned. If I'm just wearing it day to day or running in it, the ventilation, the comfort, everything. But I'm proud to be an ambassador, and I've probably did this in past podcasts. Cam Hanes, if you don't know who he is, go check him out. Good friends of David Goggins, good friends of Joe Rogan, elite ultra endurance athlete. I'll stop hammering when I'm dead. Dude's amazing. You've heard me talk about him in past podcasts. Go back and listen. If you don't know which podcast that is, reach out to me and I'll be happy to tell you which one that is. Because here's the thing. I only deal with, this is the world I live in. I promise you this. I'm not saying they're not out there, but I've not seen anybody with a hoodie like mine nowhere in the county or the community. I know one person around this whole area that's an Alter Ego ambassador. My bro, he knows. We don't spend much time together. We've known each other since elementary school. We rarely even get together because I train alone, but he puts in the work, and I respect that. We're the same age. We grew up together, went to school together, did a lot of the same things, stupid, and cool things that were stupid and stupid things that weren't cool. Known him most of my life, probably a good 38, 40 years out of 50, almost 50. And he got also alter ego ambassador this year as well. He's a fellow Spartan racer. Is that Spartan? See, I am a Spartan. Look at this. Here's another thing. Keep hammering. No one cares. That's Cam Hanes stuff. So look what I'm wearing just sitting right here. Alter ego ambassador hat. I earned. Cam Hanes hoodie. I'll stop hammering when I'm dead. Spartan. You know I earned this. Keep hammering. No one cares. Work harder. I live what the fuck I say, man. And that's intimidating to people. And people ask me often why I don't wear other things. I do if I'm going somewhere or something. I have other things. I got a shirt on right now that's not related to that, but it's still related to something I love. I support what I believe in. I support people I believe in. The brand, the purpose, the mission, just like me. Whether people support me or not, I'll support anyone unsolicited. What happens is a lot of people start growing and they get bigger and they think they don't have to support the small person, whatever that means. As frustrated as I have been in the past of my podcast not being where I wanted to, a lot of people gave up. I know a lot of people I met at the podcast event, but their podcast was, again, I don't compare, but from what I know, their podcast was far more popular than what I'm doing. They're younger. They understand the analytics and the demographics and the technical side of it so much more than me. And some of them I was kind of bummed because I was subscribing and I kept up with their, well, even if I didn't keep up with it, I still supported. I love their podcast and they quit doing it. Out of everybody I met at that event that I know, I'm the only one still doing it. I have to. We're not in the same age group. We don't have the same life. I can't give up on myself. And even though I'm not where I want to be and I'm frustrated, I can't allow that to stop me. Again, critics, naysayers, people that have something to say, they don't mean anything to me. They're important. It's just like support is, but it doesn't take much to support. I mean, it's just a quick share. So I was proud. I wanted to show the new gear. If you haven't seen, this is not new. I've had this for a while, but I just don't wear very much stuff that's not in direct relation to my purpose, my mission, and my life. I don't see it. I want to represent damn near every day what I live and what I'm about. And thing is if I wear Spartan stuff, be a Spartan shirt, whatever it is, there's quite a few people that do Spartan. I'll get stopped here and there on that. If I wear my Goggins gear, if I wear my alter ego, if I wear my ultra shit, if I wear my Cam gear, nobody. I've been stopped one time outside of Spartan in my Goggins shirt. One fucking time. And that's the oldest shirt I got. The first I did it was 2021. Coming up on 4 years outside of Spartan. I got to Spartan and they knew about it. Stopped me one time and asked me about it. Spartan's a big event. It's probably still less than 2% of the world that does that. A big event, less than 2%. What do you think this other stuff is? But if I was sitting here with my favorite sports team or even local, even if I just wearing my hometown colors of the team I played for in high school, it'd probably be more popular. What if I had a Cowboys jersey on? What if I was all cowboyed the fuck up? It'd be popular, right? That's not what I represent. It's not what I'm about. I tell people this, I'm a poor ultra endurance athlete, poor ultra trail runner. I don't need to be a poor fan of multimillionaires. I watch the game. I am a fan of football, but I don't need to support their gear. You know what I need to do? I need to support my people's gear. I need to support what I live. I need to support my gear. It's on hold right now. I'm not doing that. I need to support my classmates, my friends, our family, whatever it is. I'd rather purchase their stuff. That's the way I think. And I don't know a lot of people like me. There's some people that dabble. They'll go get something every now and then or show support. No doubt. There's no such thing as little support. There's either support or there's none. You're either supporting or you're not. And it doesn't cost anything to share. You have to ask yourself, if you can't share on social media, then are you about what you say you are? So I just wanted to give a quick update and bring everybody up to speed of where I'm at. And I'm going to do a couple more. The whole thing is I did not take that long a gap in my podcast. They won't post. So what I'm contemplating is, do I make them up, or do I take a bigger gap and get that going? I'd rather not. So I'm gonna see if I can. I've tried to switch them already, but it won't post. I'm trying to switch them to the next platform and get them posted on YouTube. So I want to give everybody a quick recap. I have not quit my podcast. I don't plan on quitting my podcast. I don't care if I have 0 views, because I think when I start interviewing some of these people and we start conversating about life and about important subject matters, things that are important to the consensus of people, to the majority of people, not what's important to the elite, not what's important to the minority, what's important to the majority of people, which I'm going to talk about matters that are important to me. It does not mean they're important to you. But when I interview people, I also have to consider their point of view. And that's what I want to do. It's a conversation. It's an interview. They can interview me. I can interview them. I have a lot of people lined up. It's just, I've let that I'm not a complacent person, if you know this. I've let that complacency, and I've let that not wanting to fuck with it. And then when this is what happened, I feel like this is how I see things now. Used to, I'd get so pissed off. I'd be so aggravated. Not just podcasts. It goes for anything in life. I still get like that occasionally. And I started looking at it instead of the mindset I had of something stopping me or getting in the way. I said, it's another fucking lesson. It's just another obstacle. It's another fucking test to see how bad you want it. And I realized that this was a setback and it was an obstacle. But I also realized that this is the way I see it, by them making, changing the criteria in the platform multiple times in the last year or so, and me having to get totally off of my biggest platforms, which was when I started, it was Spotify. And I was on Spotify and Apple and some other ones, like I said earlier, but Spotify was my biggest. And over the last couple of years, it shifted, and Apple was bigger than Spotify, but both of them were my biggest platforms. And to lose all of that, I didn't lose the podcast, but I lose all that platform for a while. Plan is to go back on it. Maybe I go to other platforms. Maybe I go to Odyssey. Maybe I do. Again, I'm a podcaster. I don't even know it. If you could, whatever you consider a podcaster. I feel like there's enough bullshit out there, enough fake shit, enough what I call mind mush, that we need to talk about real shit, and we need to talk about real life. And as always, there's more of us than there are of them. Y'all fucking stay humble, live savage, and keep fucking hammering. Love y'all.